want to welcome y'all gently, the way I do when my heart's a little heavier than usual. If you're here with me, go on and tap that like button. Subscribe if you feel moved too. It helps more than you know. Now let me breathe a moment, because this story still shakes me. It was one of those nights when the house is too quiet, when the shadows settle on the walls different. I remember lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep wouldn't claim me, and then my phone lit up. It was my daughter's husband, calling at 12:03 a.m. A married man doesn't phone his mother-in-law at midnight unless something is terribly wrong. And the way his name glowed on that screen, Lord, I felt my stomach fall straight through the mattress. I answered with my voice barely above a whisper, afraid the darkness might hear more than I intended. He didn't say hello, didn't clear his throat. All I heard was shaking breath, the kind a man makes when he's standing at the edge of something he can't climb back from. "Ma, I need you," he said, and my heart tightened because he never called me that. Not once in all the years he'd been married to my daughter. Before I could ask what happened, I heard a soft thud on his end, like something or someone had dropped, and then his voice dropped to a desperate whisper. "She's not who you think she is." I sat up so fast the whole bed groaned beneath me. My daughter, my baby girl who used to braid my hair on Sunday mornings. I pressed the phone harder against my ear, trying to catch every tremble in his voice. "What do you mean she's not who I think she is?" I asked, fighting to keep calm. Silence stretched out so long I wondered if he hung up. But then I heard it, his quiet crying. "The kind men hide from the world. I found something tonight," he finally said. "Something she hid from both of us." And the way he said both, it felt like a warning. I swung my legs out of bed, feet cold on the floor, already searching for my robe with one hand. "Is she hurt?" I asked, bracing myself. "No," he said, voice shaking, "but I might be if she finds out I told you." Those words chilled me deeper than the night air. My daughter could be fierce, but never dangerous, or so I believed. My keys were already in my hand before he even said where he was. "Please," he whispered, voice cracking, "come to the house. I can't face this alone." And in that moment, I realized I was stepping into something far bigger than a midnight phone call. The streets were empty as I drove, each red light feeling like it held me longer than the last. My hands gripped the wheel so tightly my knuckles ached, but I couldn't loosen them. All I could think about was my daughter, my only child, and the fear in that man's voice. When I pulled into their driveway, every light in the house was off except one. The small lamp in the living room window. It flickered like someone had touched it with trembling hands. Before I even stepped out of the car, I sensed something was waiting for me inside. Something that had already changed the air between them. He opened the door before I knocked. His eyes were swollen, his shirt wrinkled like he'd been pulling at it for hours. "She's asleep upstairs," he whispered, glancing over his shoulder as though her shadow might come walking down the stairs. He guided me inside with a shaky hand and locked the door behind us, something he had never done when I visited. "What did you find?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small folded note, edges worn from being handled too much. "She said she threw this away years ago, but she didn't." I took the note carefully, feeling the weight of it before I even opened it. My daughter's handwriting stared back at me sharp, rushed, almost angry. But what was written inside, it made my breath catch. It wasn't a love note, not a confession of guilt. was a name, just a name. A man's name I hadn't heard in nearly 20 years. A man who nearly destroyed our family once. Why would she keep this? He whispered. I shook my head slowly, because the truth was, I didn't know. Or maybe I was too afraid to admit I had an idea. The silence between us was heavy, broken only by the hum of the old refrigerator. I couldn't look at him, couldn't risk reading his expression too closely. When did you find this? I finally asked, my voice trembling. He swallowed hard, eyes fixed on the floor. Tonight, after she went to bed. I didn't know what to do. I tried to burn it, but I couldn't bring myself to. She would have known. His hands shook as he fiddled with the edge of the note. That's when I realized the secret my daughter had carried all these years wasn't just hidden from me. It had been hidden from him too. I had to steady my breathing, forcing myself to sit down on the couch. What's the name? I asked quietly, afraid the words might shatter everything. He hesitated, like speaking it aloud would set something loose. Finally, he whispered it. My stomach dropped. The name belonged to a man I had once trusted, a man I thought long gone from our lives. Memories I had buried with a careful hand came rushing back. The fights, the lies, the promises that were never kept. And now, all those old ghosts were sitting in my living room with me, awake and dangerous again. He looked at me with desperate eyes, like he needed me to understand without judging. I didn't think she'd ever, she never told me, but tonight I saw it. I saw the messages, everything she's been hiding. I gripped the note tighter, feeling the paper crinkle beneath my fingers. She's been hiding this from both of us all these years, he said, voice breaking, and suddenly I understood. My daughter wasn't the only one who'd been living a lie. We'd all been dancing around a truth far too heavy to face, until tonight I could feel my chest tighten, like the air itself was too thick to breathe. You have to tell me everything, I said, my voice firmer now, the fear giving way to resolve. He nodded, swallowing hard. She's not who you think she is, not completely. She's been living a life double. I only discovered part of it tonight, but it's enough to ruin everything if she finds out I told you. My mind spun with questions. How could my sweet, bright girl, my baby, carry such a secret? And more terrifying, how much danger were we all in because of it? I ran my fingers through my hair, trying to steady my racing thoughts. Ma'am, he said, suddenly, using the formal tone he sometimes reserved for his own mother. I need you to promise me you won't say anything to her yet, not until I figure out how to fix this. I nodded slowly, though every instinct screamed at me to run upstairs and confront her. But I stayed seated, watching him, realizing that tonight I was no longer just her mother. I was the only person who could hold the pieces together until the truth came out. And holding those pieces, it felt heavier than anything I'd carried before. I leaned back on the couch, gripping the note as if it were a lifeline. You mean she's been hiding something from you too? He nodded, face pale. All this time, I thought I knew her, that we were building our life together honestly. Tonight I realized half of it was a lie. The weight of those words sank in. My daughter, the girl who once clung to me after nightmares, had become a stranger in her own home, and suddenly, every laugh, every kiss I'd seen between them felt like it carried secrets. My heart ached, but curiosity edged fear aside. Show me, I whispered. He hesitated, then handed me his phone, the screen glowing with messages I shouldn't have seen. The first one made my chest seize because it was from her. But the words weren't what I expected. The message blinked on the screen, short and cryptic. "Meet me tonight. Don't tell anyone." My pulse jumped. I glanced at him, and the panic in his eyes mirrored my own. "Who is this?" I asked softly, though part of me already feared the answer. He shook his head. "I don't know," she never explained. I felt my hands go clammy. This wasn't just a hidden relationship. This was a secret that reached out in the dark, trying to pull someone else into it. The thought of my daughter sneaking around, the man she trusted hiding parts of himself, it was too much to process. And yet, I couldn't look away. Something told me the night was far from over, and the next hours would change everything. I sat in silence, heart hammering, trying to steady my thoughts. "What does she want?" I asked. His hands were trembling as he fiddled with the corner of the couch cushion. "I don't know," he admitted, voice low, "but she's been planning this for months. I just found out tonight, and now I don't know what to do." My mind raced, connecting dots I hadn't wanted to see. I remembered her strange absences. Her sudden calls, she claimed, were work emergencies. The way she sometimes stared off into nothing, as if listening to someone invisible. All those little pieces were clicking together now, painting a picture I wasn't ready to face. And yet, deep down, I knew I had to, because if I didn't, someone might get hurt. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to breathe. "We need to know everything," I said firmly. "No more hiding, no more guessing." He nodded, but the way his lips trembled made me wonder if he realized the weight of what he'd just admitted. "I'll tell you everything," he promised, "but you have to keep calm. She can't know I told you yet." I felt a chill run down my spine. Keeping secrets from your own child is always a delicate thing, but keeping secrets from your daughter about her own life, that felt dangerous, almost criminal. And yet, we had no choice. Tonight, we would peel back the layers she had so carefully constructed, one by one, and I feared what lay beneath. He hesitated before he began, glancing nervously at the stairs leading to my daughter's room. "It started 2 years ago," he said finally. "She met someone, or rather, someone from her past reappeared. I didn't realize at first what it meant. She kept it hidden, always careful, always secret." I felt my stomach drop. 2 years, my daughter, my baby, hiding a whole life, and I had no idea. Every time I thought she was being distant or moody, this had been the cause. The betrayal stung, not just toward him, but toward me too. And yet, a small, trembling part of me still wanted to believe she was innocent. I realized then, the next revelation would either shatter that belief entirely, or twist it into something even darker. I only found out tonight because I accidentally saw a message on her laptop. He continued, voice shaking. "She thought I was asleep. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. And I found out about the man." My breath caught. The man. My mind raced to people from her past. Men she'd mentioned in passing. The ones I'd trusted she'd outgrown. But the message didn't give a name. Just instructions. Secret meetings, hidden accounts, and plans I didn't understand yet. I felt my fingers clutch the note tighter. This wasn't just a love affair or a simple secret. This was something deliberate, methodical, hidden, and dangerous. And in that moment, I knew our lives were about to collide with a truth none of us were ready to face. My hands trembled as I set the note down and stared at him. "So, she's planning something?" I asked, voice low, though my heart screamed. He nodded, eyes wide, haunted. "I don't know what exactly, but the messages, they're all precise, secretive. She's been hiding it for months, maybe years." The room seemed smaller suddenly, the shadows thicker. I felt like I'd stepped into a world I wasn't supposed to see, one my daughter had built behind closed doors. "Why wouldn't she tell me?" I whispered, more to myself than him. He shook his head, voice tight, "Because she knows I'd stop her, and she thinks she can do it alone." But tonight, I realized she can't. Not without consequences. And just like that, fear rooted me to the couch, my mind racing with every possibility. I glanced toward the stairs, imagining her sleeping peacefully, oblivious. It was impossible. "We have to confront this carefully," I said. "If she finds out I know." His hands went to his face, covering it like he could hide from the truth. "I don't know if she'd ever forgive me, or you." I nodded slowly, heart pounding. The weight of responsibility pressed down on me, heavier than any punishment I'd ever felt. This wasn't just about secrets or lies. It was about protecting everyone from a mistake that could destroy us. And deep down, I feared that the mistake had already been made, and we were just standing at the edge, waiting to fall. "I need you to promise me," he said suddenly, voice breaking. "No one can know. Not your husband, not the neighbors, not even my family. If she finds out too soon, it'll all unravel." I met his eyes, the fear and desperation mirrored in mine. I swallowed hard. "I promise," I whispered. But even as I said it, a part of me trembled with doubt. How do you keep a secret from someone you've raised, someone you've loved for years? And how do you prepare for the moment when the truth, no matter how carefully handled, comes crashing down? I felt the walls closing in, realizing tonight was only the beginning. He handed me the phone again, showing more messages. Each one was deliberate, coded almost, hinting at meetings, warnings, and a name I didn't recognize. I read them slowly, every word slicing through my chest. "Who is this man?" I asked finally. He hesitated. "I don't know his full story," he said, "but I've seen her on the phone with him secretly, and she's different with him, calculating, careful, not the girl I married into the family." My stomach lurched. My baby girl, the one who used to cry on my shoulder, the one who trusted me completely, was hiding a side I had never seen. And now, that side was pulling her husband, and all of us, into something I couldn't yet name. My mind raced, connecting dots I'd ignored before. Her sudden trips to work events, her whispers when she thought I was asleep, the carefully deleted texts I'd once dismissed. All of it was part of this scheme, this secret life, and suddenly, the man's presence in the story made sense. Whoever he was, he held her attention enough that she risked exposure. "We need a plan," I said, voice steady despite the panic clawing at my chest. He nodded. "I agree, but we have to act slowly. She's careful, and she's smart. One wrong move, and she'll know we know." I realized then that we were no longer observers. We were participants in a dangerous game, and I didn't know if anyone would survive it unscathed. The clock ticked loudly on the wall, each second a hammer in my chest. "We have hours before she wakes," he whispered. "We can figure this out before she notices anything." I nodded, but doubt gnawed at me. How do you confront a person who has hidden an entire part of their life from everyone who loves them? And yet, the fear in his eyes, the desperation in his voice, made me know we had no choice. We had to act, and as I looked at him, my daughter's husband, once so confident, now trembling like a child, I realized something horrifying. Tonight, our family would change forever. I moved closer, lowering my voice so the shadows wouldn't hear. "Show me everything," I whispered. He hesitated, then unlocked his laptop, revealing dozens of messages, hidden accounts, and photos. Each one was a piece of a puzzle I didn't want to see. My daughter had built a web around herself, meticulous, calculated, and completely hidden from us. My chest tightened as I scrolled, seeing her smiling, laughing, planning, while all the while she had a secret life in motion. The man from the messages, he wasn't just a name. He was part of something dangerous. I felt my stomach drop. This was more than a betrayal. It was a storm we hadn't even prepared for. He pointed to a series of messages exchanged over months. "She's been meeting him," he said softly, "always alone. Never me, never anyone." I stared, my mind refusing to fully accept it. My daughter, my sweet girl, meeting someone in secret for months, and I hadn't noticed. Every laugh, every hug, every bedtime story, it all felt like a lie. "What are they planning?" I asked, voice trembling. He shook his head, fear etched deep into every line of his face. "I don't know, but tonight I saw evidence it could ruin everything. Everything we built." My heart thumped painfully. We weren't just uncovering a secret, we were standing at the edge of a cliff, watching it all teeter dangerously. I ran my fingers over the keyboard, hesitating. Part of me wanted to close everything, pretend I hadn't seen a thing. But another part, my stubborn, protective side, needed to know more. "We have to understand what she wants," I said. He nodded, swallowing hard. "It's more than money or love. It's control. She wants something, and it's big. I don't know how far she's willing to go." My mind spun with possibilities, each darker than the last. The thought that my daughter could manipulate us, that she could hide something this immense right under our noses, it was terrifying. And the longer I stared at the screen, the heavier the weight of truth pressed on my chest. Suddenly, a message popped up on his phone. "She's awake," he whispered, panic rising in his voice. My stomach lurched. I glanced toward the stairs and imagined her stepping down, bright-eyed, oblivious to the chaos we were uncovering. "We don't have time," he said, urgency shaking his words. I nodded. "Then we need a plan fast." My mind raced, trying to piece together a strategy without tipping her off. Every step had to be careful, precise. One wrong move, and she'd know. And if she knew, everything would unravel. I felt a cold sweat on my forehead, realizing that we were no longer passive observers. We were players in a dangerous game we didn't fully understand yet. I reached for the first message, reading it aloud. Every word was coded, hinting at meetings, deadlines, and instructions that made no sense without context. "She's methodical," I murmured. "She's been planning this for months, maybe years." He nodded grimly. "Exactly. And if we make a wrong move, she'll know instantly. She's smart, too smart." My mind reeled. My daughter, the girl I once knew so well, had become a master of deception. And tonight, that deception was hitting us like a thunderbolt. I realized then that this midnight call was only the beginning. The real test was ahead, and it would demand everything we had: our courage, our patience, and our hearts. I felt my hands shake as I scrolled through more messages. Every line was deliberate, precise, full of hidden meaning. "She's been practicing this," I whispered, more to myself than him. "Every move, every word, it's calculated." He nodded, rubbing his temples. "And we didn't see it coming. I trusted her. I thought I knew her. Tonight, I realized how little I really knew." My chest tightened. The daughter I had raised, who used to cling to me after nightmares, was now someone unrecognizable. And the truth she carried could destroy everything: her marriage, our family, and maybe even herself. I swallowed hard, realizing we were already too deep to turn back. A sudden creak upstairs made both of us freeze. My heart thumped violently. "She's moving," he whispered, voice barely audible. Every instinct screamed at me to hide the phones, to erase evidence, but it was too late. We were exposed simply by being alive in the room. My mind raced. Could she sense we knew? Had she planned for this possibility? The air thickened, tense with anticipation, like the calm before a storm. I knew one wrong word, one accidental movement, could tip everything into chaos. I swallowed, forcing calm, and told myself we had to stay steady. He leaned in closer, whispering, "If she catches on, it'll be catastrophic." I nodded, feeling the weight of the warning settle in my chest. "We need a distraction," I said quietly. His eyes met mine, understanding the gravity. The tension in the room was suffocating. Yet every second held a promise, a revelation, a slip, a confrontation that could shatter our lives. I realized then that the secret my daughter carried was not just hers. It was a threat to everyone who loved her, and tonight, we were the only ones standing between her truth and total disaster. The phone vibrated again, and he froze. A new message flashed, simple, haunting. "Meet me at midnight." Alone. My breath caught. The man she had been communicating with wasn't just part of her secret. He was a force driving it forward. Every careful plan she'd made had a purpose. And now, we were dangerously close to discovering it firsthand. I felt my pulse quicken, knowing that this midnight meeting could reveal everything or destroy us entirely. We were walking into a trap we didn't yet understand, and the shadows seemed to lean closer, watching our every move. I glanced toward the stairs, imagining her descending, blissfully unaware. The same girl I had tucked in just last week. And yet, she was not that girl anymore. She had become someone calculated, deliberate, hiding a double life that none of us could have anticipated. "We have to move carefully," I said. "One wrong step, and she'll know." He nodded, swallowing hard, sweat beading on his forehead. My mind spun with possibilities, each darker than the last. The night had begun with a single call, but it was quickly unraveling into a web none of us were ready to face. And deep down, I realized the danger wasn't just her secret. We huddled close, whispering, trying to make sense of everything without being heard. I felt my heart thudding, the room too quiet, too tense. "We need to know what she's planning tonight," I said, voice low but firm. He nodded, eyes haunted. "I'm afraid she might already suspect I know something." My stomach clenched. Afraid or not, we had no choice. The messages, the hidden accounts, the secret meetings, it all pointed to one thing. Tonight, her truth would collide with ours. And the thought of what might happen if she discovered we had pieced it together made my fingers tremble. Every second felt like a countdown. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again. I flinched. Another message. "Be careful, I'm watching." My blood ran cold. The handwriting was hers, but the tone it was like a warning or a challenge. He looked at me, panic in his eyes. "She knows we're onto her," he whispered. My chest tightened, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. She wasn't just hiding a secret, she was testing boundaries, seeing how far we could go without exposing ourselves. And the thought that the daughter I loved could be manipulating us so skillfully made my stomach churn. With fear and sorrow, I forced myself to breathe, to think clearly. "We can't let her see our fear," I said, though my voice shook. He nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "We need a plan to protect everyone," I continued, without tipping her off. His hands clenched into fists. "I've never been this scared in my life," he admitted. I understood completely. This wasn't just a secret. This was a dangerous dance, and one misstep could destroy everything. Our family, our trust, maybe even her safety. I felt the weight of responsibility pressing down. But I knew we had to move carefully, deliberately, like walking on a razor's edge. I glanced at the clock. Midnight was approaching, and with it, the meeting she had scheduled. "We can't wait any longer," I said. He swallowed hard. "I know, but if we act too early, she'll suspect." My mind raced. Every scenario, every possibility, twisted inside my head like a storm. I realized then that tonight would test everything we believed about our daughter. Her love, her loyalty, her cunning, and as the seconds ticked down, I understood something I hadn't faced before. The person I thought I knew was gone, replaced by someone I might never fully recognize. A sudden noise upstairs made both of us freeze. My pulse jumped. She wasn't coming down yet, but we could hear her moving, the soft creak of floorboards betraying her presence. My heart hammered, a drumbeat of dread. "We have to decide now," I whispered. "Do we confront her before she leaves, or wait?" He looked at me, terror in his eyes. "If we confront her, she'll know we saw the messages. But if we wait, who knows what she'll do?" I clenched my fists, the cold grip of fear spreading. Whatever choice we made, tonight would change everything. There would be no turning back. I swallowed hard, trying to steady my shaking hands. "We wait," I whispered finally. "We watch, we listen, and we act if necessary." He nodded, relief mixed with tension on his face. Every second stretched, heavy with anticipation. I could hear her faint breathing upstairs, rhythmic, unaware, or perhaps pretending to be. My mind spun with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. What if she suspected something already? What if tonight's secret was bigger than either of us imagined? I clenched my fists, trying to hold onto courage I didn't feel. The room felt smaller, suffocating, and I realized there would be no safe place in our family anymore. Suddenly, a notification lit up his phone. He froze. I leaned closer. Another message. "Don't come tonight. Be patient." The words were simple, but the weight behind them pressed down like a stone. She knew. She was testing boundaries, gauging reactions, controlling us without stepping foot into the room. My stomach twisted, fear coiling like a snake. He whispered, "She's playing us. She always has been." I nodded slowly, heart pounding. The girl I once tucked in at night, the one who clung to me after nightmares, was gone. And in her place was someone sharper, colder, and far more dangerous than I had ever imagined. I pressed my hands against my face, trying to breathe. "We need more information," I murmured. "We can't make a mistake now." He glanced at me, pale, trembling. "I have one more clue," he whispered, pulling up a folder on his laptop. Inside were photos, hidden notes, receipts, evidence of secret meetings spanning months. I felt my chest tighten. The daughter I thought I knew had built a hidden life, a network of secrets no one could have predicted. And now, as we stared at the screen, the realization hit me. We were already involved, and every decision tonight could have consequences none of us were ready for. My pulse raced as I scanned the documents. Each page, each photo, told a story of careful planning and deliberate concealment. The people in the pictures, strangers to us, yet intimately connected to her secret. "She's been doing this for a long time," I whispered. He nodded, voice shaking. "And we never saw it coming. Not once." I felt a shiver run down my spine. The realization was terrifying. The daughter I had raised, trusted, loved, had been hiding an entire life behind the mask of normalcy. And tonight, all of it was converging. Like a storm we could neither stop nor escape. The clock ticked louder with every passing second. Midnight was near. I could feel the tension in the room, thick, suffocating. "We have to be ready," I said, voice trembling but firm. He swallowed hard. "Ready for what?" I looked at him, eyes sharp. "For the truth. Whatever it is, we can't let it destroy her or us." He nodded, dread in his eyes. I took a deep breath. The next hour would decide everything. What we discovered, what she did, and how our family would survive the storm she had been hiding. And deep down, I knew that after tonight, nothing would ever be the same. The sound of her footsteps grew louder, each creak of the stairs sending a chill down my spine. I gripped his arm, whispering, "Stay calm. Don't let her sense anything." He nodded, but the fear in his eyes mirrored my own. Every instinct screamed that tonight would reveal far more than words could describe. She had planned every detail, and we were intruding on her world without fully understanding the consequences. My mind raced, imagining what she might do if she realized we had discovered her secret. The house felt alive, every shadow a threat, every creak a warning. And still, we had to wait, had to watch, had to survive the moment before the storm broke. A soft cough upstairs froze us both. My heart pounded as I leaned forward, straining to hear. She was awake, moving deliberately, and I realized she was not the same child who had once whispered her dreams to me. This was calculated, controlled, a predator in her own home. I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on me. "We can't make a sound," I whispered. He nodded, eyes wide, shaking, every second stretched painfully, the tension thickening. The question lingered. How much did she already know? And how far would she go to protect the life she had hidden from all of us? Then suddenly, a message pinged on his phone. He froze, hand trembling. I leaned over. Another note, simple but terrifying. "Trust no one, not tonight." My pulse leapt. She knew we were close, knew someone was watching. The girl I had raised, the one I trusted with everything, was now a strategist, calculating her every move. My stomach churned as I realized tonight wasn't just about revealing her secret. It was about testing boundaries, measuring loyalty, and controlling outcomes. Every choice we made could tip the balance, and I knew there was no room for mistakes. I swallowed, forcing myself to breathe evenly. "We have to think," I whispered. "We can't react, not yet." He nodded, gripping my hand. "I never imagined she'd be capable of this," he admitted. My chest tightened. The daughter I loved, the girl who clung to me for comfort, had become a force we barely recognized. And the reality was harsh. Tonight, we were powerless to stop her until we fully understood her plan. Every second we waited was a countdown toward a revelation that could change our lives forever. And I feared the consequences of what we would soon learn. A shadow passed under the hallway light. I froze, heart hammering. She was moving closer to the living room, closer to us than we had anticipated. Every instinct screamed that we were treading dangerous ground. "We need a strategy," I whispered. He nodded, eyes darting nervously. My mind raced, considering options, possibilities, and the terrifying unknown of what she might do if she caught even the smallest hint that we had uncovered her secret. The night pressed on, thick with suspense, and I realized that nothing would ever feel safe again, not until we understood the full truth. The tension in the room was unbearable. I could hear her footsteps pausing, the soft scrape of socks on the floor. My heart hammered like a drum, and I forced myself to stay still, barely daring to breathe. He gripped my hand tighter, eyes wide with panic. "She's coming this way," he whispered. My mind raced. Every instinct screamed that we were moments away from exposure. One wrong sound, one misplaced movement, and she would know. The weight of her secret, the months of hidden plans, pressed down on us like a storm cloud ready to break. And in that moment, I understood. We were caught in her world, and survival depended on silence and strategy. The shadow of her figure appeared at the top of the stairs, poised, deliberate. I held my breath, counting silently. She wasn't rushing. She never did. Her control was absolute. Every step, every subtle movement was measured. My pulse thundered in my ears as I tried to memorize every detail, how she carried herself, the quiet confidence, the eyes sharp with intent. I realized then that we had underestimated her. She wasn't just hiding a secret, she was orchestrating an intricate plan that none of us were fully prepared for. And tonight, we were trapped in the eye of that storm. She stepped into the hallway, glancing briefly toward the living room. I felt my stomach twist. Did she suspect us? My hands went clammy. He whispered, "Stay calm. Don't react." I nodded, forcing myself to breathe slowly, though my chest was tight with fear. Every step she took felt like an arrow aimed at our hearts. And in that instant, I realized we were no longer just uncovering her secrets. We were pawns in a game she had been playing long before either of us even knew. The house itself seemed to hold its breath, every shadow an accomplice to the suspense. She paused, leaning slightly against the banister, seemingly unaware of our presence. But I sensed her calculation, the subtle way her eyes swept the room, as though she could feel the tension we carried. My chest tightened further. The daughter I had known, the one who had once clung to me for comfort, was gone, replaced by someone sharper, colder, and dangerously clever. I realized then that tonight was no longer just about discovering her secret. It was about surviving the consequences of her meticulously hidden life. And the moment she moved again, the next step would decide everything. A sudden creak made me flinch, and I caught his trembling hand. "We can't let her know we're here," I whispered. He nodded, swallowing hard. The seconds dragged, heavy with anticipation, as she moved closer to the living room. Every instinct screamed at me to act, but I knew that one wrong move could shatter everything. The messages, the hidden accounts, the careful planning, it was all pointing to a moment we were on the edge of experiencing. And deep down, I realized that tonight, the truth would finally confront us, and there would be no turning back. Her shadow stretched across the hallway as she stepped into the dim light, silent, deliberate. My pulse thudded violently, every muscle tensed. He whispered, "She's coming closer." I could see her posture, controlled, confident, like she knew we were here and wanted to test us. My mind raced, imagining the secrets she carried, the web she had spun around herself. Each message, each hidden account, each secret meeting, everything pointed to a plan I was only beginning to understand. And I realized that if she sensed even a fraction of our awareness tonight, the consequences would be devastating for all of us. I gripped his hand tightly, trying to steady both our breaths. "We have to wait," I whispered. She moved slowly, stepping closer to the living room where we sat frozen, our hearts hammering in unison. Every instinct screamed danger. I thought of my daughter, the sweet, trusting girl I had raised, and felt a pang of grief for the person she had become. And yet, beneath that fear, I knew I had to see this through. Tonight, her secret would be revealed, and we would face whatever truth she had been hiding, no matter how devastating. A soft rustle upstairs made us both flinch, and my stomach sank. She wasn't leaving yet. She was moving carefully, as though anticipating every possibility, every risk. I could feel her energy, sharp and precise, filling the house. "She's planning something," I whispered, voice trembling. He nodded, eyes wide. "Something dangerous." My mind raced, connecting all the dots, the messages, the meetings, the hidden notes. Everything pointed to a moment we were now living, and deep down, I knew we were about to confront not just her secret, but the consequences of every choice she had made in silence. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my thoughts steady. "Whatever happens, we have to stay calm," I murmured. He nodded, though his hands shook violently. The tension in the room was suffocating, every shadow seeming to hold a warning. I thought of the phone call that had started this nightmare, the desperate words he had whispered, and the storm we were now living inside. And as I watched her move with calculated grace, I realized that tonight would either shatter us or force a truth so raw that nothing would ever be the same again. The weight of the moment pressed down like a hammer, leaving no escape. She finally paused near the doorway, her eyes scanning the room as though sensing our presence. My heart raced, every nerve on edge. I realized then that we were on the brink, on the edge of a revelation that could destroy trust, love, and family forever. He glanced at me, fear and desperation mirrored in his gaze. "Are we ready for what comes next?" he whispered. I nodded slowly, though my stomach churned with dread. Tonight, her secret would confront us, and we would have to face the consequences together, no matter how painful. The storm was here, and there was no turning back. The final step she took into the room felt like the world holding its breath. I rose slowly, voice steady, though my chest ached. "We need to talk," I said softly. She froze, eyes wide, realization flickering across her face. The truth spilled out in trembling confessions, each word heavier than the last. Tears came, apologies whispered, and for the first time in months, honesty filled the room. We held each other, fragile, shaken, but together, and as the dawn light filtered in, I felt a weight lift, knowing the storm had passed, but the lessons, the scars, and the love would stay. Thank you for sitting with me through this story. If you lived it with me, please subscribe so we can share more truths, more hidden lives, and more stories that touch the heart.